Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. It is Monday, the Reveal Report. I'm your host, George. Thanks for being here. Hope you had a great weekend. And what a show we got. We're going to talk about demonology. And I have a very special guest. She's been on once or twice before, many years ago, actually. And she's great. She's from Canada. Her name is Michelle. And not only is she a demonologist, she's now getting into ufology, or my pronunciation might be incorrect. I apologize. But she's well-versed on a lot of things. I know her personally, and we actually did a investigation together. I think it was at the Keg Mansion. We held something there and tried to communicate with something that was there. Phenomenal human being, very well-versed, and did experience some very dark things in her life. So we appreciate you for being here. She'll be joining us shortly. And of course, she's back. She had a few weeks off. Our co-host and author, Miss Jessie Zebolder, will be joining us momentarily. Guys, we have a huge month ahead of us. Coming up next week, Gary Wayne will be here. We're going to be discussing the Nephilim giants, and something is going on with the Nephilim giants. There's a lot of new sightings. People are seeing giants. They're appearing. They're seeing them on mountaintops. People are vanishing. What is going on? We got to get to the bottom of this. So Gary will be on the show next week to discuss. Following week, Miss Jessie Zebolder, we're going to get into urban legends. And we're going to talk about certain locations around the world and their ley lines, because there's some urban legends about powerful locations around the globe that people use for rituals. We'll get into that. And the week after, we're going to talk about the portal of hell alongside a particular location. I want to say it, but I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna hold back. I'm not gonna say where. But there's so much packed into this one location. Is this the gate of hell? Is there so much evil in this one place? Is there a place in the world that has so much evil? Yes, there is. Nathaniel Gillis will be talking to us at the end of the month about the portal to hell, a particular location. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. It's going to be incredible. So stay tuned. Tune in. We thank you all for being here. All right, guys. Another thing I want to say, I appreciate all the love and support on Patreon. But if you like this type of content, you're into the paranormal, the supernatural, the esoteric, no longer on PayPal, but I'm on Cash App. So support all and everything helps go a long way to help produce these type of shows. I thank you so much. And without further ado, let me bring my co-host so we get right into the show. Please welcome Miss Jessie Zebolder. Jessie, how are you?
Hey, George, I can't believe you're leaving us on such a cliffhanger.
Hey.
Like, this month is packed with good stuff.
Jess, I'm so excited. Again, it is a cliffhanger. You do know the location I'm referring to. I don't want to tell the people because they're going to just, for the next 3 weeks, they're just going to go, oh, yeah? And they're going to start doing it. So, no. We can't.
They're going to look up all the information.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I ain't doing it. So I'm going to wait for them to tune in. And Nathaniel Gillis is incredible. He's participated in exorcisms, deliverance. Yeah. He comes with us. He talks about the UFO issues, the mixture between aliens and demons. Maybe we'll touch on that tonight briefly. We love him. He'll be here. Your bestie, Gary Wayne's here next week.
Right, I know.
Jessie.
We all love Gary, and you've got a great lineup this month.
Thank you so much. And of course, again, I gotta put more light on that. There's so many, what's the word? Views now. People are popping up videos. So-called giants are appearing. What's going on? We got to get into that. Right. Big show. We thank you all for being here. All right, let's not waste any time. Let me bring on my guest from Canada. She's been us before. She's so busy, guys. I could read her resume, but it's long overdue. She produces shows. She does so much, especially for Canada. She's like the go-to in Canada, especially, even though she'll do her own radio broadcast and podcasts and so forth around the world. That's kind of a go-to when a TV network or a TV show wants a specialist, wants a consultant, wants to get her take, they go to her. Without further ado, please welcome Michelle. Michelle, how are you?
Well, I don't know. I'm on pins and needles now, thanks to you, George. Because I know where your mind is usually at, and is a good friend, so I know your show is going to be outstanding. But now I'm like, what? There's a spot I don't know about.
Yes, and I'll just share this. I just will tell you, when I pick a particular show, I don't just pick a name. I'm usually doing research in regards to that topic so that I'm knowledgeable to go back and forth to ask questions to the guests. And I have to download video clips and so forth. I found a location. The location is so dark and evil from its past. The government is involved. Now, when I first say it, you're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. Yes. Wait, yes.
You'll say it, I'll know it. I guarantee it.
100%. Maybe I'll tell you in the private chat what it is.
I think we'll all know it.
Yeah. But for the audience, there is so much to this location, to the point, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm thinking about doing a trip with a camera crew to this location for a 1-hour special documentary to upload on Patreon and on YouTube about this location to get actual film footage. Because I tried getting footage. It's very minuscule to find this location's footage. But we need to dig deep on this. So I'm looking into it. All right, let's get into it. Demonology. Michelle, as a refresher, just let people know, give a little intro about yourself, what you've been through and what you do, please.
Well, I myself have come from having an attachment and aging myself. It was back before there was internet and being able to just, call somebody up or email someone and look for assistance. So I ended up having to do my own research, and I started working with my mindset and not giving power away, and not that you don't have the fear, but really just not giving it and turning it into food for something that was stronger. It took me a long time to get through that, and I did. And I took everything that I've learned and went on to help other people with that. And I've spent over 2 decades, not just in research and in helping people, because I've helped thousands of people over the decades, but getting into media, which was really just a way for people to find me, retired from media. And now I'm more behind the scenes. I help, create movies, TV shows, podcasts, all kinds of things. And that's really where my passion is. And I still continue to help people because I do believe if you know how to help someone, you just do.
I love it. Great. I love that you said that. Now, Michelle, I got to say that there is a lot of talk about demons and what they are and what they can be. So everyone's got their own interpretation of demons. So I got a couple of videos we're going to play in this particular episode, and then I want to get your take and Jesse's take. The first video is what a pastor thinks, or his description of demons. So I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to play it for everybody. I want everyone to turn up the volume, and then we'll get your take. Here it is.
What is a demon? We understand that the demons are fallen angels who have stepped away from our Lord's will and have fallen outside of heaven into the depths of hell. And their one goal in their entire existence is to destroy humanity, to take us away from God, to separate us from Him permanently by joining them in the ranks of hell. The same way that the angels inspire us towards virtue, the demons are tempting us to vice. The fallen angels are jealous of us and are trying to attack us. And vice versa, the angels are defending us and protecting us from all harm's way.
All right. Thoughts on this, on his take? Let's start with you, Jesse.
Yeah, I think that was a good comparison. I liked how he, kind of outlined it. Demons do this and react towards people this way, while angels do that. I think a lot of the things that he was saying are things that you could align with scripture and tend to be more mainstream, explanations for what demons are, how they react with us, that are very similar to what you'll find in Scripture.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right, Michelle, what are your thoughts on his description?
Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, I do go along with that. I think it's, as I say, a tale as old as time. This goes back into ancient times, and you've always had the balance of good versus evil. And I think it's carried on even with the talk of the Nephilim. There's a belief that demons are also now not just fallen ones, but it's believed that they are the spirits of the Nephilim, the offspring. So this goes on, and it just seems to be an endless loop. So is there ever going to be an end to it?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to move on. Lots to talk about here as we get deeper. We're going to dive into some stuff here. This next video is very interesting. I'm not even going to give any context to it. I'm just going to play it, and then you both could unpack it. All right, turn up your volumes. Take a listen. Here it is.
How many demons are there?
Billions, literally. When God created all the angels, he created the entire hierarchy of angels instantaneously all at once. Seraphim, which is at the top, all the way down to just angels at the bottom. Of the class of the angels alone, there's one subset, which is the guardian angels. And every human being has had a guardian angel created specifically for that particular individual. So you're talking billions just in that one subclass. The number of angels that fell, we read, is from Book of Revelation, where Satan took a third of the stars and with his tail and swept them down. Now, not a third get to possess or have much to do with us in this life. Most of the possessions that we see are from the top rank, which is the top three choirs, the thrones, the cherubim and the seraphim, Baal, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Lilith, Baphomet, Moloch, those are the ones in the middle. And then you'll see a lot of the lower grunt guys at the bottom, whose job is to just kind of do the bidding of the guys at the top.
Okay. So he did an explanation. There are many. What I find interesting is they're almost like military. They have levels. There's captains, lieutenants. There's the workers. They all have a job to do, and that's to bring torment and destruction and harm to human beings. The higher up we go, in another conversation, you'll hear their take on what the higher demons want from human beings. I find that very interesting. So begin with you, Jesse, if you don't mind. What are your thoughts on his take with so many and what they say?
Yeah, it's interesting because we know, Scripture talks about myriads upon myriads. We know that like a third fell, and yet, there's still myriads upon myriads. And, he's absolutely right. I believe the same thing, that there is that military structure. There's, those that are over nations. Then you've got those that are going to be kind of over quadrants, those that will be over regions, and then all the way down to those that will be connected to individuals and assigned to certain ministries. He didn't exactly use that word, but, all angels were ministering spirits. So it's interesting when you think about their scope of authority and who they were supposed to minister to and at what capacity.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right, Michelle. Billions, he says, different names that are the lieutenants. They have the worker bees. They have their captains. Interesting stuff. What are your thoughts?
Well, I remember once while I was doing some research, coming across an article. This was several years back, and I found it intriguing. And I asked myself, how did they get the statistics? They estimated at that time, and probably about a decade ago, that there were 4 demons to every one person. Wow. If you factor in how many people there are on the planet and how many demons that would be who are constantly fighting, is it fighting for your soul, fighting for your energy, that whole cycle. It is interesting. When you factor in some of the beings that he's mentioning, you can also find some of these beings who would have been labeled as ancient gods. So, what exactly was that hierarchy, and when did that hierarchy change? When you talk about, let's say, Baal, if you really dig and you find some of this information, they were considered pagan gods. Molech, the same. And look at them now. So how far back did this belief go, and when did everything switch?
Yeah, it's Jesse. How far back do you think this goes? I mean, obviously, what I learned is, I mean, the top are older than time. I mean, they've been around since creation, before man. So there's always been a type of darkness out there. But those are specific ones. The story goes, as we've heard from other people who study, that there was 200 or so angels that crossed the Lord and went against his will and came down to earth to mate with the daughters of man. They created a breed, a race called the Nephilim. And when the Nephilim was done, so the word says, breeding with women, they turned to creatures. Now we get the Greek mythology of Pegasus and all these other half man, half creature because of this Nephilim. So it wasn't just human beings that were mating with these creatures and created this being. The beings then wanted to procreate with animals. It created chaos, and the Lord hence destroyed or flooded the earth. At that time, those souls were punished not to enter heaven and were chained, apparently, had no physical being to enter. Mm-hmm. So they are the lieutenants and generals, these demonic forces. That's the overall story that's told. Jesse, do you want to add to that? Do you want to change that? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, those are just for people who are looking to understand where that stems from. You've got part of, that outline in Genesis 6. Then you've got what you were talking about, George, in the book of Enoch, and as well as in the book of Jubilee, which both outline those things. And I think you nailed it on the head. The evil wasn't just that you had angels wanting to breed with humans. They were engaged in bestiality. And, scripture talks about the depth of the evil, that every thought was continually evil, not only for those that rebelled against the Lord in the angel classes, but you had, the humans, the offspring, and the corruption of all of mankind at stake.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Your take, Michelle, do you want to add to that, or do you agree with the overall synopsis here?
Well, I do. I mean, we know one thing is for certain. Here we are. And like I was saying before, there's no end in sight. Yeah. And we see a lot of remnants of this within the cryptid field. Yeah. And again, with that being said, we can go back in time and find a lot of this. And there are a lot of different theories on it with respects to whether you're dealing in the field of, anything deemed highly strange, cryptozoology, ufology. Yeah. Then we have what my friend Nathaniel calls as the phenomenon, like how much of it is really just one.
Yeah. We're going to get deeper into this. And when Nathaniel's on, he compares. Mm-hmm. He has comparisons to aliens and demons. And are they one in the same? Mm-hmm. Here's a clip of a priest. He touches on this, has a few things to say. Then I want to get both your takes. Because Nathaniel definitely, when he's on, he really pushes this because his research is based on this. There is so much comparable. We've talked about different magic rituals that were conducted, including ones by Aleister Crowley, who summoned Lamb, and then Lamb, when they drew him, he came across as an alien. He looked like an alien. Wild stuff. But again, we're going to get into that. Let me play this clip. I think it's interesting, to say the least. And then we'll get both your takes. Here it is.
Demon manifested, they would manifest in literally looking like an alien with the eyes and the small mouth and the whole bit turning gray. And they even call themselves gray. And they try and lie to the exorcist by saying, oh, well, we're not angels, good angels, and we're not bad angels. We're not demons. We're kind of in the middle. We're neither good nor bad. No, dude, you're just a demon, right? Because when you start talking to them, it's all that is a diversionary tactic, which they do in the sessions. So just as we're seeing this play out itself on a grander scale in the world with the whole alien thing, they'll try and do that in session where they're just trying to distract you by something that they know that is not true, but they're hoping you'll believe it's true, because then from there they can manipulate you.
Okay. Something to unpack there. He's an exorcist. He said they could transition to look like this alien-looking creature to confuse you and get away with what they want. But regardless, thoughts on his take on when he's performing exorcisms. Some of them end up appearing in line. What are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
Yeah, he really brings out how they're the masters of manipulation and distraction. And, you know, he states that they will say things that were neither good nor bad.
Yes.
We're kind of in the middle. But right there is where the lie is, because the truth is that, you know, the good and the evil that they're speaking of, it's all light or dark magic. You know, it's all evil that has a form of godliness but denies the real presence of God. So in fact, you know, it's not, none of it is good. That's part of the whole lie. So, you know, in that you see how they twist things and the deception that it brings, so people will embrace, you know, receive them as they are and just let them be and not rebuke or stand against.
Yeah. Michelle, your thoughts on his take during these exorcisms, how they lie to convince and even kind of morph into something that looks like an alien?
Well, I can go a step better.
Okay.
Shape shifting, we know
Yes.
demons are notorious for doing, and there are some extraterrestrials that are known to be able to do the same thing, or at least project to you how they want you to see them. Either way, they're messing with you. But do you know, when you compare abductee individuals and demonic, let's say, infestation, there are similarities. For example, the sulfur smell, present in both. The bright lights, present in both. Popping sounds, little static lights, present in both. Sleep paralysis, pressure on the chest, presence in both. So it goes on and on and on. The growling, I found out from a guest who was on my show who was seeing tall grays, saying that he heard them growl.
Wow.
I was like, really? So I really think, you know, you do have a crossover. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether, you know, one of the same. Nathaniel's talks very in depth about that. And when you look at the similarities between the two, it definitely raises a few questions for me.
Okay. So let's touch on something briefly. As you guys know, especially Michelle, because you were around at that time when I was deep into this and getting into demonology with Lorraine Warren and doing these things. And I got into ritual magic. I can legitimately tell you I smelled during a particular time in my life, a bad time, because I was doing, you know, not good magic. I was actually Solomonic magic. That was what I was tapping into. And there were times where there was infestation of not only sulfur, but rotten meat, or the smell of garbage, of rotting garbage. Second thing is flies. People don't talk about the flies. That's one thing I've noticed a lot when you get into some type of ritual magic, summoning these higher beings. That's them letting you know we're here. That's a presence. That scared the daylights. I was so scared. I'm like, this is so real. And of course, I went through, you know, my time of dealing with this stuff. But I can vouch for the smells, the bugs, and certain other things. Pressure, of course. That's things that I've experienced. Let me jump to Michelle first. Michelle, anything that you experienced when doing a deliverance or exorcism where you felt something or you seen something that stood out that you're like, okay, there's absolutely no way I'm dreaming about this. And there's a reason why I'm talking about this. There is no way I'm just imagining this. There's got to be something here.
Well, I'll back up a moment. I've not participated in like deliverances. I have seen them as a representative there for the families. I don't consider myself a demonologist. I truly believe if the one thing Lorraine Warren taught me,
Yeah.
and she said to me, she said, "Dear, we're always students. We're always students." And I always made a point from that point on of learning something new every day and realize no matter how much I think I might know, and I know a lot, I hold a whole lot of gratitude for that, but there's always something and someone who knows a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
So when it comes to all of these things, some of the things that I have witnessed during, again, deliverances, because, I deal with different denominations depending
Yeah.
on the family. If I'm dealing, for example, with a Buddhist family, I'm not going to be able to just send in a Christian minister. I have worked with Christian ministers who have done incredible work. And I have to say, the first time I ever heard somebody speak in tongues and do a full deliverance, it left me mind blown because there were 2 locations infected with this demonic entity, and both got cleared, and they never stepped foot
Wow.
second place at all. It was hours away. And I received, like a phone call literally upon the end of that deliverance that everything was clear at the other end and everything felt lighter. So I have experienced all of the smells, the popping sounds, the scratching. I've seen, family members get scratched. I saw someone get pushed. I saw somebody basically get poked in the eye. Like, I mean, you see things amp up.
Mhm.
Just, it's there.
Yeah.
It's there. What gets me is people who think that these things, yes, they're logical explanations for everything.
Mhm.
But when you live through something like that and you experience things like that, something is leading these people to believe that they are under full attack.
Yeah.
And you can't just sit there and take away from that experience because these people are horrified.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, I experienced a lot because I did get into certain things. I was pushing the boundaries. I was pushing the limits. And, Michelle, you're curious. You want to know. I had to know. I had to know.
Yeah.
Is this real? Does this work? Because we're learning on how do we help people, but are they doing it themselves? But we learn certain criteria. I remember one of the first questions I had to learn when going on an investigation: did anything traumatic happen to you recently in the past 60 or 90 days? Are you on any type of medication? Is your clock plugged in to near your bed where you sleep? These are all things that will set off events that are not necessarily paranormal, but you'll be able to manifest things. So you learn, you get into it. I bring this up. I talk about this for one particular reason, because I got to witness things. I got to smell things. I got to see things, 3-dimensional things. I felt things. These are my senses. I didn't dream it in a nightmare. I say this because it was real, and I collaborate my information with others who concur. There is something supernatural without an explanation that cannot decide what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I bring this up because I'm going to play another video. Now, this may sound controversial, but I'm interested in getting both your takes on what this gentleman has to say. Listen very carefully what he says, and then we'll take it from here. Here it is.
Demons can't actually possess you. Demons are frequencies, which means demons can only really use intense suggestion or synchronicities. A demon can repeat something over and over and over again until it drives you sort of crazy and you end up doing it. If you're not trained in the spiritual arts, then the voices of those demons will soon start to seem like your own. Once you start thinking that these voices are actually yours, you'll probably take action on them. Or you'll start by default thinking from these places, which will turn the law of attraction against you. So then you end up manifesting things you don't want. So it doesn't actually possess you, it just convinces you that you're possessed. Demons can only affect that which is in their vibrational field. So let's say that you constantly surround yourself with negative media and that's all you consume. Demons that are in that frequency will then be able to interact with you to some degree. If you fixate your mind on the fact like, oh, I think someone's cursing me, I think someone's always trying to curse me, someone must have cursed me, the longer you hold that thought, it'll eventually start manifesting beings and entities that are in alignment with it, and then they will actually start cursing you and haunting you.
Okay. Interesting take.
Right?
Jesse, take it away. What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
You know, there's a lot I have to say I disagree
Yes,
with
please.
disagree with in there.
Uh-huh.
For me, my experience is that demons are very real, even though they're spiritual beings. You know, they're able to speak, they have a voice, they're able to have a form, they are able to manifest in such a way where it manipulates the physical world. And, you know, there have been many individuals, myself included, that have experienced demonic attacks where, you know, it's as though somebody is there, somebody is, you know, taking action against you, and it can be felt, it can be you know, seeing what the spirit is doing. So, you know, I'm not, even though I guess I think he was going down the road with the frequency, the light, the vibration, um, you know, connecting that to the spirit world. But I think that, you know, we have to address the reality of the demonic spirits. You know, it's not just light, it's not just in your head, it's not just something that, you know, you're imagining. And it's not just something that comes at you just when you're in a certain mindset. You know, if you're doing the Lord's will, if you're walking in obedience, you can expect that, you know, the enemy is going to have you have a target on your back, and you're, you know, going to get spiritual attacks coming your way.
Yep. All right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Michelle, what are your thoughts on what this
What she
individual had
said.
to say?
What she said. No, I have to tell you, in all the years I've done this,
Yeah.
I know where he's coming from.
Yeah.
What they're trying to say is when I worked with people, at one time I used to have like roughly an 18 plus month waiting list. So I would work with people remotely, you know, over the phone, over the computer, whatever. And I would just try to say, look, you know, try to stay positive, take your power back, and just don't feed it, you know, live, love, laugh, all of that. And they would practice that. They would practice just laughing and staying within the positive. And you know, 18 months later, I said, okay, I can come in, because people didn't want to work with other people. They had to,
Yeah.
they insisted on waiting. And many people at that point said to me, you know what, we're okay. We're not feeling anything anymore. I said, okay, that's good. Keep up what you're doing. If you need me, then let me know. But I also don't think we weren't talking like full on oppression or possession. I think at this point we had people who may have run into a little trouble and really reached out in time to be able to help themselves, because I believe we are powerful beings. Our creator made us as powerful beings, and we have the right to say, I do not consent, and you fight.
Yeah.
Now, I have also had a multitude of recordings sent to me over the years, and videos. I've seen, you know, children playing and something growling right there where they're playing. And you're looking at a video, you know,
Yep.
nothing is there. I have had, you know, my team and I working, and we hear, you know, this growling. And I mean, when I say growling, I mean a thundering growl, basically saying, you know, like, I walked behind Christ when he carried the cross. Like, if that doesn't want to stop you in your tracks, wow,
Yeah.
that was intense. I have had other recordings with guttural growling, just ridiculous things. I have been visited before going to locations, you know, with the different knocks happening and the scratching and growling. I mean, that's exactly what Jesse says. You know, if you are going to work in light and try to work with removing these things, or even sort of putting a damper on what they plan to do, interfering is how they look at it, then you are putting a bullseye on your back the same. And you better be able to walk the walk, put your money where your mouth is, and just do it. Practice what you preach.
I want to just add to what you said there for a moment. I remember doing an investigation of an individual. And you know what? The funny thing is, Michelle, you know who this person is, actually. It's a woman. And she said something's going on at her home. I said, what's going on in your home? She explained there's some phenomenon. I said, okay. So I went in and spent 2 hours, but I did it daytime, like 6 to 8 or something like that, or 5 to 6, 5 to 7, around that time. And I walked through, especially where she said it was lively. And I did some, EVP questions, your typical thing. When I played it back, I heard actual growls. But she didn't have a dog or a cat, but it was a...
Oh, that's guttural.
Yeah. Whoa. What are you doing here? Oh, I was just fooling around. I was doing EVPs, trying to contact beings, seeing if there's anything here. I go, well, if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. You gave authority, you gave permission to allow what was on the outside to come in. Now we have an issue. So, three-dimensional. We heard it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You open the door, they know, and they take their invitations very seriously.
100%. So this individual talks about, he was discussing harmonies and frequencies. He's correct to a degree, yes. But what he was saying is that it non-existent or a figment of your imagination is a little bit insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to add more fuel to the fire with this other video. This guy has gone viral, claims to be an occultist, and he's going to teach you with his own book on how to dissect and decode society. He's very well spoken.
Really?
Listen to what he has to say. I'm curious, both your takes, because both of you from two different sides of the world, two different styles and approach, but both of you are spiritual warriors. You deal in spiritual warfare, both of you, on high levels. So playing this, I'm interested on your response. All right, audience, turn up your volumes. This one's an interesting one. Here it is.
Demon is D. Mon. Mon is moon, meaning emotion. D means negative. A demon is a negative emotion, which possess your mind, body, and spirit. These entities are created by your own thought forms. You feed them by giving them mental and emotional energy. Every addiction you have is an astral entity that you have created. The more thoughts and emotions that you give to these entities, the stronger impact they have over your physical body. I, Magi Nation, you are a magician bringing thought and emotions into physical reality. You've been doing magic your whole life.
He's right on some things. Okay. However, us manifesting something that doesn't exist is perplexing to me. But I got to get your takes. Jesse, I'll begin with you. Yeah. What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
Well, it's interesting because I guess if you're going down that whole road of, angels just being connected to emotions, then that puts it as something else other than being an actual being. And we know in scripture that angels are beings, that, they have jobs, they have ministries, they have things that they're doing before the Lord. They're represented by, a name, a voice, a form. So I don't think that they're just emotions. However, could they be connected to, were they originally connected to emotional terms? Were those terms connected to their type of ministry? You have those that are ministering in love, those that are ministering peace, those that are ministering, joy. And then, those that fell, did that then impact, how they interact with us, where now you don't have peace anymore. Now you have chaos. Instead of love, you've got selfishness, and you've got discord, you've got all these negative impacts that are connected to that being. I think that's very possible. So I wouldn't again agree with everything he laid out, but could there be a connection? There could be.
Yes, there could be, but interesting take. All right, Michelle, what are your thoughts on his approach and his feeling?
Well, I agree with Jesse on on the schematics behind everything, what he's trying to say. Yes, you could break it down. We can see anything we want to see. We can make sense of anything that's written down, But I could tell you this. I can only go by the experiences with the people whom I've worked with. Addiction can lead to opening doors and something coming in, if you didn't have an addiction, can lead you to an addiction. The end game here is they don't want you to fight back. They want you weak. So if you're going to be, again, we'll deal with mental health and addiction. It's a really big one because these entities tend to go after, the weakest link. So they want you weak. They're not going to go and deal with a logical person or, who can fight back. This is why you don't eat. This is why you don't sleep. This is why you do end up, coming in with addiction. So it's like a catch-22 to try to say, well, it's this, it's this, it's this. Yeah, maybe it is. But on an average, when I see things like that, the problem is already there or it's about ready to start. And it always ends the same.
Yeah. Again, to a degree, when he says, if you're in a negative place, thinking negative things, something negative is going to happen. Yes, it's the law of the attraction. You're
manifestation.
You're going to manifest that. You're going to open a door. You're going to allow something in. Some of his breakdowns are correct to a degree. However, why is it that scholars, the Bible, elites, families, politicians, it goes on and on, all believe in one way, shape, or form, we've heard this, in a supernatural force, something they can't sometimes see. Sometimes it comes to them, but they know there's something that exists. There's a power source. It's there. It's not tangible, but we know it's there. It exists, and we open doors to it in any age. But it just seems to be, in today's day and age, more prominently targeted to the youth. Mm-hmm. If you go back to the 80s, they would play it in adult TV shows. It was never really, it was pushing. I think later on we saw it, late 80s, 90s. Then it began to start the indoctrination, if I might say, of demons and demonology and magic. I got to ask you guys, have you ever seen this show or heard of this show before? K-pop, Demon Hunters. It's on Netflix.
I have not. Yeah.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
I'm going to play a clip of what this guy breaks down in regards to this particular hit show that's on air right now. So turn up your volumes, take a listen to what he has to say.
Demons dance, Latin chants fill the air, and flames light the stage like a nightclub in Jahannam. It's called K-pop Demon Hunters. Sounds like it's about fighting evil? Don't fall for it. The show isn't hunting demons, it's marketing them. And the stars of the show, a K-pop boy group called the Saja Boys, possessed, seductive, and adored by millions. They chant in Latin, Dies irae vos solve in favilla maledictus iris inflammas aeternum. Translation, the day of wrath dissolves you into ashes, the cursed master into eternal flames. And this isn't background noise, it's the opening hook. This is the anthem of hell being delivered to your kids' ears in 4K. They perform this demonic chant live in the show. Fog, lights, screams. One girl collapses, possessed, foaming at the mouth. And the crowd, they cheer harder. That's not entertainment. That's ritual wrapped in rhythm. And now, Muslim teens are lip-syncing it, dancing to it, reposting it with captions like iconic and they slayed. Yeah, they slayed all right. They slayed their fitrah, their modesty, their spiritual protection, all for an aesthetic. This show
All right. Interesting take on what he has to say. The show is called K-pop. Now, is it just a form of entertainment? There's nothing to it. That could be. We don't know. I mean, you're a demonologist. You're Jesse. You're an author. You've experienced things. You've seen things. You're more trying the biblical style of teaching people to take the right path. Me, I was an occultist for 13 years. I did ceremonial magic. All of us can confirm there is something supernatural that we cannot explain. The point is, what he's saying, is he going too far? Is he a fanatic? Is this reading too much into it? Is this just a TV show and we're just putting fuel to the fire and making it more popular?
I don't think so. I mean, the hats that they're wearing, even, you look back through different forms of history, what are their outfits portraying? It's portraying Jesuit. You get those certain classes of Jesuits that are going to claim they're doing the work of the Lord. Is that quote that he talked about in the beginning, is that from something specific? My guess is, yeah, it is. That you're going to find Latin writings, certain words, certain phrases used among older, ancient groups connected to your Jesuits, your Templars, your Magi, and those can go back all the way to your land of Canaan, things that have been passed on. And I think you'd find a lot of connections to those things in that show.
Michelle, you want to add to that? I have one more clip after that one for a different show.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we see not just, in this, it's full on, ritualistic, because they need consent. And we see it in everything, every aspect. We get the big football game opener, ritualistic. Think back to the Olympic game openers, ritualistic. It has to be out in the open. They need us to consent. By cheering them on, by supporting it, we are in a way consenting. So this doesn't surprise me. It's just hitting a different age group.
All right. It's a coincidence. It's a show. One show. There can't be others. Can there? Here's a show.
No.
Apparently, there's a version of his show that's super dark. Is it possible? Let me play what a woman has to say and then get your takes. Maybe I got the wrong show. I must have misunderstood. Let me play it and get what you guys think.
Warning to the parents: if your kids play Roblox, listen up. There's a version of the game called Demonology, and in this version, it teaches the player how to cast spells and how to participate in witchcraft. This is super dark and demonic, and while kids think that or young people just think that they are participating in a fun game, it can actually open the doorway to demons. And I've seen it time and time again. I've actually had to do deliverance on young people for watching demonic content. So Satan wants to introduce these things young, and that way people are more likely to get interested in witchcraft and participate in real life. And so I recommend you keep an eye on your kids and what they play. I'm not saying they can't play Roblox. I'm saying keep an eye on what they play and don't let them play this version.
Roblox, Demonology.
Well,
Did you guys know that? It's a coincidence, right?
I did not know. I mean, it's curious that you have a game teaching children demonology or even young adults. How many people are actually getting that game and learning from that? And
Here's
how
something-
does it go? Like, that's the bigger question.
They're indoctrinating the children to get into magic. Here's something interesting. And I'm still checking the data. But last I checked, do any of you know the fastest growing religion for women around North America?
I would guess Wicca.
Witchcraft.
Yeah.
not Christianity, not Muslim or Buddhist or atheism or science. No, the fastest growing religion for women in North America is witchcraft. Is this one way to get more people into it? Thoughts, Michelle? You're muted.
Sorry. I think we're living in a time right now where, people are feeling very divided, and we are living in an age where people are suffering a lot of losses. We're in the age of AI, which is making things very, very easy. And, I think people are just looking for answers, and they may not necessarily be looking in the right places.
Yeah. Wild. Demonology, ladies and gentlemen. Is it real? Is it a theory? Well, we've experienced some things in this world of the supernatural, us three. We can only give our accounts to what we've seen, heard, and experienced. And I think we're all in unison when we say, come to the Lord, give him his glory, confess your sins, ask him to save you, ask him to wash those things away. Walk in the path, and beautiful things will happen. I can truly say that. I can truly say that. Glory to God, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Ladies, I want to thank you for being here. We have an after show coming up. After this, a Q&A to get all you people to ask questions about this or anything else to Miss Jessie and Michelle, who's joining us today. We thank them both for being here. Before we sign off, Jessie, how can more people follow you and support your ministry?
Yeah, you can find me on kingdomlivingwithjessie.com. On there, you'll find my courses, my books, as well as different events and workshops I'm doing. I encourage you to check it out. I have a workshop coming up this month on May 16th.
All right. And Michelle, if people want to know more about you and what you do and all the different projects you're associated with and what's going on, how do they find you?
Well, MichelleDesrochers.com. I don't really keep up on it because I don't have a lot of time, but you could find me on United Public Radio Network under the Outer Realm or Beyond the Outer Realm. And I have a disclaimer.
Okay.
Don't necessarily have to agree with everything that is there, but my guests are all treated with respect, and there's something for everyone.
Wonderful. I also have the link to your website in the description. Guys, for myself, I got to tell you, a lot is going on. We appreciate you. We have a big month coming up here on YouTube. 4 weeks, 4 different guests, lots of great information. And check this out. I just uploaded a show that is 30 years old. 30 years old. It's called The Rise in Satanism in the United States of America. It's uploaded on my Patreon. You could see it when you join. If you're a member, check it out. The Rise in Satanism. It's about an hour, 20 minutes or so. It's an unbelievable show. 30 years old, unbelievable information and content. Check it out. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining us today. We'll be in the after show coming up next on Patreon on behalf of Jessie, Michelle, and myself. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next time. Good night, and God bless everyone.